Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first official Talking Trash with Trashpanda. Welcome to the dumpster. We're going to talk about professional wrestling here. Uh, Mostly Monday Night Raw and maybe some AEW. Depends on how the thing goes. Today, I am joined by Mikeflecha Jr. His information and stuff will be in the. He's a part of WLW. He's a part of his own show, Talking Smack on. Or I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think that's what it's called. On Fridays.
Cerebral Smack talk on
Cerebral
YouTube.
Smackdown. Yeah, and he has a great show, and I asked him if he wanted to be a part of the official show opener, and he was down to do so. Great Raw last night. I'm gonna get that off the chest already. Better than last week, which is weird for me to say because Raw after Mania is usually like your flagship, and it. I don't know if it's because it's on the road to Backlash and things are starting to formulate, but for me at least, it felt like this was a step in the right direction. Like the writers finally have something to go with, and I'll get into that more when we talk about it. But the show opened with Corey Graves and Michael Cole welcoming us to the show, and it was a great. I mean, these two have been on a tear. I mean, this is the. We were worried when McAfee was gone. I mean, you and I both talked about it. That Corey could he step up and fill those shoes? Corey's done that in spades, I think. And then on SmackDown, you have Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, and they're great together. We then have a promo with Jimmy and Jay and Roman. And so here's my confusion because it feels like Jay isn't behind Roman. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like, and I'll let you talk about it too. It feels like Jimmy's. This is a great segment. I mean, it sets up the, they talk about getting rid of the MFTs. They talk about Jacob and what he did on SmackDown and showcasing the that feeling of, oh, he's going to be a mainstay on this roster. Which is great to do on SmackDown because that's where the MFTs are, but I think it loses its value a bit that it's not on Raw when it happens, but that's neither here nor there. But it's weird because Jimmy's more worried about Roman than Jay is. Like, it feels like to me, Jay's like, oh, you stepped up, bring it. And, we'll get into what happens later. I think it was a great segment. I think it showcased again how much Jay has gotten better on the mic, letting him speak a little more. Obviously, it was pre-taped, but it was a good promo. I mean, it showcased that and I'll let you talk about it. Somebody with Jacob Fatu was saying he needs the title. You can believe it. Like, and that's the big thing for me with this feud. Is I can believe what Jacob says. Roman, he's always on the teetering side. But for me, I love storytelling. And this story is great because it's true. It's Jacob Fatu has been through so much bullshit. And now he's finally, he's in the top of the mountain at the foot of it or whatever. And he needs it. He's like a hungry animal. And that's a great thing for his character because he can pull it off well. I mean, I'll give it to you now.
I think it's kind of you bring up some valid points, especially about the Jey Uso and me and the guys. We kind of been talking about it. How Jay is getting more and more like he wants to be the leader, that he wants to be the tribal chief, and I kind of feel like that's the narrative that they're trying to plant. So could I see where Jay may turn on Roman sooner rather than later? Yes. I think with Jimmy it's more of look, I feel like Jimmy is at that point now where he's just going to be there because, with everything going on outside of the ring, personal life for him is a little different. And like you said, with Jacob, that's exactly what it was. I felt more believable on him on SmackDown when he ran through the MFTs and you looked at the Usos and they were like, oh, no, he's good. He looks like he's locked in. So you got so many different dynamics going on here that definitely will bring a light to it. And I think though as the weeks get closer and closer to Backlash in Tampa, that's going to become very more telling. Does Jay start to get more and more closer to turning? Because that was the one thing we were talking about for a little while was it looks like Jay is slowly trying to turn, and there was that point where it almost felt like he was trying to be Roman in a sense. So where does that play out? There's a lot riding, going on right now.
I think one thing that you touched on that I didn't touch on enough is you said the whole thing about Jay turning. And why I thought it was weird, and this is why this whole thing, why this feels like it's better than last week, is when you get to this point, right? It's where Jay and Jimmy have two different narratives right now. Jimmy's like, "Hey, join us. Like, hey, come over. Let's make this work. Let's unite our families." And Jay says, "Nah, fuck that. You stepped up. Show up, show out." Like that is a completely different dynamic. But I'll let you talk about what happens next when Seth Rollins' music hits, and this is, in my opinion, the segment of the night. It was good fucking god. It was incredible. But it's yours to start, and I'll add on to it after the fact.
Well, it was Seth freaking Rollins coming in, cutting a promo, and then we had Braun Breaker show up with Paul Heyman, and there was a back and forth. There was a tit for tat, as we would say. They were both slinging at each other, both throwing, a lot of their, and it was definitely, they definitely tried to make it personal in certain elements, but you almost felt like, all right, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, talk about the tropes that both men were throwing that, okay, you're trying to go for those body shots and whatnot. And there was a very good segment, and it was solid for the most part. But you tell that they left a lot of meat on that bone. That they didn't really give you a lot to talk about. Like, I know you were very critical of Seth belittling Braun a little bit, talking about, yeah, he's a little, the little bro, and the Steiner legacy and everything else. And I'll give you that, because remember, before Braun Breaker got hurt, Braun Breaker, you could say consequently, was probably being groomed to be the heavyweight champion of the world. Seth freaking Rollins and Braun Breaker was the original main event match for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, folks. That was it. That was going to be their money fight. And possibly Braun Breaker right now should be the heavyweight champion of the world. If injuries never occurred on Seth's end, on Braun's end, horrible things broke down. And hey, that's wrestling, folks. Wrestling is indeed actually real. It happens. There's injuries. And I kind of feel like it was solid enough, but I think Seth is underestimating Braun. And I think that's the mistake. He's belittling a guy, thinking that, he's talking about the psyche in the head and everything else. I'm not buying it, because we saw what he did to him at WrestleMania. He carved him like butter right through, like not once but twice. You saw that 75-yard run he made to spear the daylights out of him.
It wasn't a great spear, but it made the
no, it wasn't.
It made the impact that it needed. But it served its
purpose. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I believe Braun Breaker is being groomed to be a world champion. You could even say, I know there's a lot of different factors, because now you got Oba around, you got other guys who are in the mix for the heavyweight championship of the world. I feel like this could be a passing of the torch. This could be Braun's breakout moment to slice through the visionary himself, Seth freaking Rollins, to set himself up for the next major hurdle that he needs to go to. So that's my 2 cents on the whole thing.
when you said a lot of stuff that I agree with. This to me was segment of the night. Segment of this was Braun's best segment in his career so far. That includes NXT. That includes all that stuff for me. I think the important thing that no one's talking about is Heyman handed the mic to Braun. Seth cut this amazing promo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's Braun Breaker's the reason why I'm not world champion. Braun Breaker's not is the reason why Roman Reigns is world champion. Yes. And I'll get into what Roman says later on in the evening that I don't agree with, but we'll talk about that later. But calling, and this is where I agree with you. I do not like calling Braun stupid. And I get it's the trope of the Steiners. I get it's, it's Big Papa Pump. It is what it is. Braun Breaker's a former Intercontinental Champion. Braun Breaker's a former NXT Champion. Braun Breaker, before he got hurt, like you said, was going to be world champion. Things change, obviously. But I don't like, and Seth brings up a good point, you needed him. You don't. Braun is the one guy that I didn't think needed Paul Heyman. But maybe at the first he did, then he starts working with him, he gets his promo work up, and it's different. Seth says he's responsible for the 9 staples in Braun's head, which, by the way, was a shoot injury, which is fucking crazy to me. That was a receipt. But Braun says that, and I loved this because to me it puts Punk over, and I'm a huge Punk guy, saying, at least when I lost the World Heavyweight Championship, it wasn't to Jey Uso, it was to the best in the world, not someone who's playing second fiddle. And they also played on something I think they're going to continue to play on, and I have a theory with that down the line. Seth has no friends. 2 things. Either the Shield's coming back, or Seth's going to work with Punk. I don't know. I want Seth and Punk. I think it's going to be great, but I think the Shield's coming back at some point, and I think before their careers end. But then he starts talking about how, he made Bronson and him his errand boys, and that's true. That it started to feel like this bloodline, and Braun didn't let. And I love that. I love the fact that Braun is a heel, but it's a babyface thing. Like it's I needed Heyman to see where I needed to go. And then Seth says, well, you proved everything that I knew about you already. You're stupid. And Seth says, you try, you fail, I try, and I succeed. And to an extent, that's true, but it's pulling. That's the weaker part of it. And then he says the Big Papa Pump thing, and I'm like, all right, now you're just doing cheap heat. The segment's winding down, but like you said, leaving meat on the bone, and I think they are. I think they're waiting because their best work is yet to come. I think they're stacking these pillars of, hey, we can pull from this, we can pull from that, because it's Seth. Seth can wrestle a fucking broomstick. Seth is that fucking good. And then it's confirmed Seth versus Braun at Backlash, which I think Braun's gonna go over. I think Braun needs to go over. Or Seth goes over, and then you continue this feud to SummerSlam, which I would be fine with as long as it makes sense to the story. It's the same thing I said about when Punk lost to Roman. Story-wise, love it. As a Punk person, I hate it, but I'm happy that it continued this narrative of what they had. And then after this segment, I mean, we'll just talk about it just slightly and my feelings on it. They're writing off Stephanie Vaquer, and that bothers me. Because when you have Stephanie Vaquer, who's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, if not the best, next to Io, they wrote her off to give her a vacation, which is awesome, which maybe she comes back for Money in the Bank. But I don't know. I don't like it. I think there's more with Stephanie and Liv. I think there's more. And obviously I'll let you have it, but like when it I think there's more there, and they're just like, "Oh no, we're going to end it here." And it's like, "But there's more."
I think it's more of a cool off. I think they just need to let them get away from each other right now, because that Mania match, that storyline got a little too personal, a little too hot. And I think this is WWE kind of like, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes, let's ease up, hold on, just relax. we can revisit this because you can tell there's enough where it's not completely over, but with
Yeah.
all these new people coming through, because remember, Sol Ruka showed up.
Yeah.
You also are getting more people coming from NXT. So you're gonna have enough people for Liv to have to face off with that at some point you can revisit Stephanie versus Liv again. They
Yeah.
just want to step back, let it cool off, and maybe there is a little bit of some punishment
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Stephanie
Hmm.
because of the double head clash and the hemoglobins that not only did Liv get, but Roxanne also got a hemoglobin. So like they banged heads like for real, for real. So I think WWE was kind of like, whoa, hold on, we gotta stop. So I think that's what it is. Plus, maybe there is a rumor about an injury for Stephanie that maybe she needs to take some time away. If that's the case, we wish her nothing but the best. Get well soon, sweetheart.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I get why they did it, and I get where you're coming from because you're feeling like Stephanie was the best thing out there. As a
There's
matter of fact,
more, and I wanted more.
yeah,
Like that's the
yeah,
thing is
and
after Mania, where it was like, and then it feels like, oh, this is still a thing after Raw after Mania. They did that thing with Stephanie, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
there's still more. And then they're just like, nope, it's over. And I'm like, all right.
Well, you don't really, not necessarily. We don't really know for sure if they written her off or not. It's
Mhm.
not. There's nothing confirmed.
Yeah.
She could come back next week and get that pound of flesh on Liv, and here we go again. We're right back to square one. So I mean, we don't know. But at the end of the day, yes, I get where you're coming from. You're thinking, oh, great. Well, that's a waste. But who knows? Because we don't really know right now. It's kind of we're just waiting and seeing. We're just hoping for the best. But
Next up after this, which was a really good match, I'd give it. I'll give my star rating after the fact, but I don't have the time for the fall. But I do. I think I don't know what it is about Penta and Rusev, but my God, these two can fucking work together, and I love it. I cannot get enough of it. And all Ego is there, and it's giving me this Lana vibe of like, oh, this is my manager type deal, and Ego's perfect for it. He's fantastic. He's a shithead. He's a shithead heel, and it works perfectly in this match. It was high flying. It was everything Penta does. But man, there was a part where it showcased how good Penta is in the ring. And I don't know if it was called in the ring or if it was talked about backstage. But earlier in the match, and this is why Penta's my favorite luchador of all time. Why Penta is in the position he's in. He's that damn good. Earlier in the match, like around the beginning, Penta went for his now finisher, his springboard destroyer. And Rusev caught him with a Machka kick. Okay. That's cool. But the finish showed the same thing. Rusev was ready again. This time, Penta stopped, jumped off, roll up, 1, 2, 3. And that alone is like, damn, that's a great story. It's Penta has seen this. We know what's going to happen. You can't get me twice. And then you had after the match, Ethan Page and Rusev. Well, at first came in, he was taking off his cufflinks and his jacket. And he was about to go over and stop. And Rusev's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get out of here!" So he got out of the ring, and then Penta started fighting back, and then Ego came in and helped out him, and they both stomped him out. Then that boy's bouncy, fucking Javon Evans comes out, and we're teasing possibly a tag team match between Penta and Javon, or maybe a fatal 4-way. Regardless, I'm in. I've already bought into this after WrestleMania. I'm like, this Intercontinental fucking, this group, good God. The shit they can do is insane. Evans and Penta shook hands, which is cool because Evans is the babyface. I do think Javon's eventually going to be Intercontinental Champion, if not Ego. Because, dude, he's such a shithead heel. Remember, one of my favorite match finishes of all time was, I think it was NXT, was it Heatwave? It was Trick. I think it was Trick, Javon, and someone else. Anyway, he got hit with a Trick knee on like when Trick was on the apron, and he fell
Yep.
into the cover, and then it was new champion. And I thought that was fucking genius. I was like, oh my God, this is, and he was a great champion. And I think that's what's good about this, unlike the United States Championship, which is kind of falling off right now, unless they get some call ups, which I hope they do. But the Intercontinental Championship, this group, this feud, fuck, dude, I don't care who's Intercontinental Champion. As long as you keep them together, I don't give a fuck about anything else. Because these four can work like really well.
And you could tell that Rusev is really like it felt like he was lost in the shuffle for a little bit and they weren't really utilizing him. All of a sudden, Rusev, since WrestleMania, has looked so damn good. It's
100%.
Okay, we now know why Rusev is there. And yes, All Ego doing his thing. Javon Evans is amazing.
The OG Cutter,
we call him a human highlight reel.
Dude, the OG Cutter is insane.
One of the best finishers in wrestling.
Genuinely, I don't know how he gets that much air. Because obviously last night it wasn't the cleanest one. No. But the match between Penta and Rusev was, I'm gonna say, probably 3.25. I think it was great. I loved every bit of it. But I think there was some mistakes. There's a fall away slam where he almost dropped Penta, and that knocks it for me because I saw it and I was like, oh, fuck. And then that was one of those things. Like, it would have been a 4 if that didn't happen. But God, dude, the OG Cutter. I mean, Rusev. I don't know if he didn't want to take it. I don't know what the fuck happened. But good God, man. Javon hit the fucking mat hard. And then Rusev said, oh, fuck, I'm supposed to fall. But, I mean, what did you think of the match in total and the segment that followed?
I mean, it was a fine match. It was a really good match. Actually, by the way, 7.5 minutes was the time of the fall.
No, 7 minutes really?
7 minutes and 30 seconds.
It seemed longer.
So, I know. I'm actually... Yeah, so 7.5 minutes was the time of the fall. It felt good. It felt crisp. It felt clean. Yes, there was a couple of here and there mistakes. I'm not gonna bash it too hard, but I'd give this about 3. This would be more of a three-star bout. This is kind of more right at that thing. This is what me and my boys would like to call a fun little sprint. This was just good action all the way through. There wasn't much bad here. It was just, yes, there was a couple of hiccup moments, we like to call it, but it was still a good flow to the action and everything else. So yeah, that was a great match.
And then Flecha, after that, I'll let you talk about it. We had the Los Americanos segment with Grande. And I mean, I'm just curious what you say about it, because I have my own opinion on it. We've talked about it at length off camera. But what did you think about Ludwig's promo? Because obviously we know it's Kaiser, on just everything going on in Lucha Libre at this time.
Look, it's very interesting because it's real different. Because remember, in this version of WWE, Ludwig's character is the heel, where he's supposed to be the heel, supposed to drown up the heat and everything else. And Chad Gable, and I guess we can call it, Gable's Americano is the babyface. Where in Mexico, in AAA, it's complete reverse. It's a complete 180. Where, there's a mask, where Chad Gable's El Grande Americano is the heel, and Ludwig's is the babyface. And there's a match coming up in May. I think it's like May 20th.
The 30th.
It's going to be live.
The 30th. It's the May 30th, yeah.
And it's Mascara versus Mascara. Mask versus mask. Somebody's losing their mask on that night. And it is a big event. Like, they're making this huge. So I get where they're coming from, trying to hype everything else. And Ludwig has done really well with it. This was supposed to be him just filling in for Gable while Gable was hurt. And Ludwig ran with the character, and he's made it his own. to the point now that they may not be able to take the mask off of Ludwig Kaiser. Like, Kaiser will not be able to take the mask off. He's saddled with this mask probably for the rest of his career. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's messed up, everything. Dude, when you get an opportunity, you make the most of it. And if this is how you get over, then so be it.
Brother, he's working with The Undertaker. Do you think he gives a flying fuck? Like, I don't think he gives a shit.
Dude, he's like in Mexico, he's like a national hero. Like, did you hear that pop when he ran out to try to save his girlfriend, who is the sideline reporter for AAA, and that Gable was trying to corner? He ran out like a bullet, and that crowd went bonkers.
That's why, in my opinion, with this segment and him challenging Rey Mysterio, and the match that follows is fucking incredible. But Triple A has been the best show. It just has been. It's
hands down.
Triple A. It's Raw, NXT, then SmackDown, and I'm hoping SmackDown gets CM Punk at some point because it would bring a lot to the brand. But after this segment, and after they talk about this incredible match, Becky Lynch comes to the ring. I did not like this. I'm going to say that right now. I did not like this segment. I thought it was stupid. She came out. She said, oh, I'm the best women's wrestler. I'm the first ever this, that, heel shit. She's better than it. She doesn't need it. She then just is coming for the Undertaker streak, and I said, that is about the dumbest shit you've ever said. And I like Becky. I think Becky's a great heel. It's just when she's not doing this shit, like it feels fucking written down already.
Yeah.
And then she says, I'm going to face someone who's shiny and new. Someone that's the greatest. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Are we going to have another NXT call-up? Are we going to have someone that's new? Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. fucking Io Sky. Fucking Io Sky. Like, and I don't mind that it's Io. Trust me. That's I don't want that to be twisted. Io's a great wrestler. But when you build it the way they did, I was like, oh, we're going to get a call up. Like, oh, fuck, we're getting someone else. Like, yeah. Is it going to be Izzy Dame? Who's it going to be? Because I fucking love NXT. But when that didn't happen, I was like, well, that sucks. Like, you could have brought out JC, or not JC. You could have brought out a call. Who was called up for Raw? Sol Ruka. You could have brought out Sol fucking Ruka.
Sol Ruka right now.
Could have brought out Sol Ruka, and I'd have been like, take my money, take it.
Yeah.
But it just feels cheap, and Becky don't need it, and especially how this match goes. Just feels cheap to get Asuka and Io. But I'll let you talk about this segment, and then we'll get into the match. What did you think about what Becky had to say in comparison to just how her run has been as a heel?
Look, it was a cookie cutter promo. There wasn't anything amazing about it. She talked about winning the title over AJ Lee, passing, going onward. Yeah, she talked about the Taker streak, and I know a friend of mine who's a diehard Undertaker fan is going to take major umbrage on that. And if he's on the show tonight, watch out. He may rage about that. But at the end of the day, this is Becky being Becky. She loves playing the heel, even though the fans are trying to push her back to that baby face. But this is, sometimes the crazy Bex is the best Bex. I think that's the best way to say it. Now, for Io to come out was awesome in a sense because, look, Io is now stuck in the mud because she was so aligned with Rhea Ripley and the whole 9 yards. And, everybody knows Io is a champion. She's been a former, women's world champion. She had, I believe, the women's match of the year at last year's WrestleMania with the three-way with her, Bianca, and Rhea. So, for this is kind of a refreshing matchup because we never had Becky Lynch versus Io Sky. This is a first time ever. So I was cool with it. And then, we expected Asuka to get involved. But the one thing that I wish and they knew when you brought that out, the
Yeah.
minute Asuka came out, the "We Want Kyrie"
As
chant.
soon as
You
Corey
knew,
said it,
you knew,
yeah.
you knew it, you knew it, you knew it.
And it's
The
just gonna
minute it
keep
happened,
happening. It's
and
gonna
it's
keep
gonna keep
happening.
happening.
That's what
And
this
and
guy
that's the
said,
thing.
and it's gonna keep fucking happening. I mean,
It's
that's
gonna
just.
keep happening.
I
And
guess
that was the thing.
it was a great match. Probably 3 stars. I don't like the finish. I think it's stupid. I think I get it. I
Yeah.
do. I don't like the fact that they made Io tap. That bothers me. They should have made her pass out. I think it makes Io look weaker if she taps. Sure, it's the Oscar lock. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the most dangerous moves in wrestling. But if you're trying to build this feud,
But I can also see where Asuka might get hit with Io's finisher at
correct.
some point. Yes, because she'll get her comeback. Because that's the thing. In wrestling, whenever there's one person that gets up on one person, the pendulum's gonna swing the next week. So do I think that I think you're gonna see a moment where you're literally gonna see the Genius of the Sky do that flying moonsault, and she's gonna hit Asuka, and that's gonna even it out. So I'm not mad about it. But look, you want to make Asuka a danger. You want to make her vicious. You want to make her that. Look, yes, I don't have Kyrie, but I never needed Kyrie. I could do this on my own.
Said it without saying it.
This is kind of, huh?
She said it without saying it.
Yeah, she said it without saying it.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna get this moment is like, oh no, you needed her because I'm about to kick your ass for what you did to me. And that's gonna be that narrative that we're gonna be playing, and eventually we're gonna get the ultimate payoff when we get to Tampa for the at Backlash.
Do you think Kyrie getting released was a work? I just thought about it. I just thought about this, and here's why.
Because the thing is that, and to let some of you folks know, Kyrie was never released.
Oh no, she just left. Right.
No, her contract actually expired.
Right.
And they never re-signed her. That's the big thing. It's not that she was released. It's not that she asked for the release or anything else. It's that the contract ran out and they did not resign her. That's why a lot of people got mad, because they're like, what are you doing? She was in a major storyline. You could, like, we didn't even get a payoff yet. That's why you're getting, this is almost feeling like this could be like R-Truth all over.
So that's what I mean is, with that is if it's a work, because if she comes back at Backlash, it's like, oh, the pop and shit. However, Kyrie's a great wrestler. Kyrie's she's gonna, if she goes to Stardom, she's gonna take over Stardom. That's a
if she goes to Marigold, she's gonna take over.
That's a wrestling promotion in Japan, and again, she's that fucking good. But I was thinking about it, and man, having Kyrie and Asuka in a feud would be huge. But having Kyrie turn on Asuka at Backlash, it wouldn't cheapen the Io win. It would be like, oh, I left and I just didn't tell you I was coming back. And that would be great. But that's just a fleeting thought, because we get into another segment with the El Grande Americano and the original El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio. And Rey says what he says. And Rey, by far, I think is he now the general manager of AAA, like officially?
Not officially announced. They said they are gonna announce it soon, but there are rumors that it is supposed to be Rey Mysterio. I've heard even Conan possibly being the general manager for AAA. We don't know who it is yet. It's literally up in the air right now. It could be a number of people.
Why I think this segment's more powerful than people are going to give it credit. Rey says to El Grande, the original, because El Grande goes, "Can you watch my back?" And Rey says, in lesser terms, no. You don't need it. He wants both of them to respect Lucha Libre, and this plays into their match later between the El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio, and I didn't think about that until just now. It's kind of just a full circle moment. Rey saying he's not choosing sides. Ultimately, we knew that wasn't going to happen. We knew Rey wasn't going to choose sides. But do you think going into this match in May, is this a good segment to build on their feud? Because I think involving Rey Mysterio in it and having Rey say what Rey said is very good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the fact that he's talking about the tradition, lineage. And remember, like, I've seen the birth of AAA in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
This is when it started with Antonio Peña. He was the original guy that basically created, because he got away from CMLL. He didn't like a lot of the stuff, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make my own brand. Basically, CMLL has been in business for over 90 years. Like,
yeah.
it's become it. That's like the WWE, where AAA, you can say it's like, you can call it like a WCW,
mm-hmm.
ECW.
Except it never died.
You can talk. It just never, yeah. And it just keeps getting better and better and better through the years. Now, there's been some politics. There's been some guys who are very, that was very toxic to that brand, that brought that level down. Mm-hmm. But Rey has always been one of the constants in AAA because, again, Rey Mysterio is considered one of the godfathers of Lucha Libre. His lineage, his family, they're legendary. So for him to do it that way was great, because it shows the emphasis for us as American fans. If we don't follow AAA, if we don't follow Lucha Libre, now you're seeing what the fans in Mexico gets to see every time out. And now with this access, thanks to YouTube, thanks to WWE, pushing the brand as they are, this is why I think there's a newfound respect for Lucha Libre, for AAA. It's definitely because, like you said, they are blowing it out of the box right now. They have probably the best pure show in all of the programming.
It's because Undertaker's running it.
So
it's because Undertaker knows how to tell a story in the ring. It's what he does.
Yeah.
But after this segment, I'll let you talk about it before I do. You had a segment with Byron Saxton, the Usos, LA Knight. What are your thoughts on this?
I feel like it was fine. It was there. LA Knight still being, LA Knight. The Usos doing their thing. And you could tell that, like, there's enough respect there, but you could also tell that there's a little tension. Especially with Jay and LA, there's definitely tension, but it's kind of that narrative of, everything went fine. We won at WrestleMania, so okay, fine. Bury the hatchet there. But there's still some unresolved, that unfinished business, I kind of feel, with LA Knight and Jay that, maybe needs to be settled, but there's just too much going on that there's too much, different things. I think
Jimmy and LA Knight are good.
Yeah.
I think what LA Knight says is true. He comes in and he says, "Did I hear that right? You said family business." And then Jay told him to stay in his lane, which they've always had an issue. But then after the fact, LA Knight said, which again, LA Knight's great on the mic. He's fantastic. When he goes, "When it becomes corrupted and power corrupts, then it's my business." Yeah. And then he walks away. And then Jay literally looks at Jimmy and says, "Get your boy." And I was like, oh, interesting. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say. But, it was there. It is what it is. It was an okay segment. I think it was just to fill time for, good God, Joe Hendry burying Logan Paul. Holy shit. Joe Hendry comes out, sings a song about how he signed a Raw and he respects the ruler, acknowledges the OTC, and he says, "If there's one thing I'd change, can we please fire Logan Paul?" And I was like, oh my God. And then he just kept going and he kept fucking burying him. And then the crowd started, fuck, Michael Cole was singing the song and I was losing my mind. I was laughing my ass off. But then Logan fucking comes out, interrupts.
Whenever you get a Joe Henry concert,
Oh,
get ready to be
it's
entertained.
incredible. It's so good.
I mean, TNA, you got to see it. If you haven't seen TNA, go on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's so many good concerts he's done. You know what? I'll even promote this. I'll even pump this out. If you ever seen his ICW work,
oh my God, it's incredible.
From Europe. Oh no!
He's doing the cover of Blue for Drew McIntyre. Dude, so funny.
Dude, the shenanigans he was doing in ICW is absolutely crazy. Go out of your way to watch it.
It was a great segment. Don't get me wrong. It was a great segment. Yeah. But then it got bad because you gave Austin Theory a microphone. And I don't like Austin Theory talking. He comes out, he says he's the greatest tag team champions of the world. You're just not. It's just, you're not even in the top 10. You're not even in the top 20. It's just not, you're not there. They were just trying
to get the heat. I think that was just trying to get, we talked about TP earlier, but
he goes, we're winners. We're winners. And I was like, what are you, 5? And then Joe says, he asks the WWE Universe if they're winners. And then he calls them a bunch of primetime losers. And I'm like, and Joe already beat you. Like, you didn't even need to say anything. Joe Hendry just buried you, both of you. And now you're stupid. And then Theory and them attack Joe Hendry and Street Profits come out. And I think they're going to give the straps to the Street Profits. Congratulations to Montez and Bianca, obviously. And my boy, Dawkins from Cincy. He's a big Cincy guy. And they came out and they're doing their thing. And Joe Hendry was just sitting there and taking it in, and they help him out. And we'll get into why this is important later, when Joe thanks him and stuff. But what did you think of the concert? I thought it was brilliant. I like the fact that they're letting Joe Hendry do this on the main TV because it's what they brought Joe Hendry on to do, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was fine. I loved it. It was exactly what it needed it to be. If you want to introduce Joe Hendry to the world, what's the best way to do it? A Joe Hendry concert.
Mm-hmm.
Give him the personality, give him the opportunity, let him do what he needs to do. The fans were eating it.
This is what Elias should have been. This is what Elias should have been, but it's not.
Exactly, but it didn't. Yeah. And the thing was that this was exactly what it needed to be, and now we're gonna get to see him in the ring very soon. In in-ring competition, possibly next week. Yeah. But if you want to do a perfect way to introduce Joe Hendry, here it is. Proof positive, as they would say.
And Flecha, next up, my boy, but I'll let you talk about it first, and then I'll talk about why I love it and what it feels like to me, because good God, it is 1 for 1. Grayson Waller and Adam Pearce segment with a good old The Ruler. What'd you think about that?
Grayson Waller kind of start kind of flapping the gums a little too much. And so Adam Pearce got a little mad and he synced over Adam. It didn't turn out very well. It was about a 1.5-minute massacre. Obafemi destroying Grayson Waller right before our very eyes. Look, I mean, what can you say? The ruler doesn't work by the hour. You already know that. He finishes guys in less than 5 minutes. He did it to Brock at WrestleMania. He did it to Grayson here in 1.5 minutes. So like I said, he's not being punched by the hour. So he just does what he needs to do, does his work. Bye, see ya. So I kind of feel like it's one of those, yeah.
So this is how I felt during it. And it was really funny to me because I saw it on X and I was like, oh, that's exactly what this is. So Grayson comes over and he goes, you're given all these opportunities. Like, brother, I've been here. And to an extent, Grayson has a point. He has been here. He goes, you're giving things to Obafemi.
Mm-hmm.
Oba Femi. And then Pierce goes, yeah, Oba Femi, the ruler. And he goes, yeah. He's like, Oba Femi. And he goes, Oba. And then he turns around and Opa's just standing there. He said, how would you give an opportunity to face me tonight? And then Pierce just goes, yeah, this is 1-for-1. Tonight you're going 1-on-1 with The Undertaker. This is Teddy Long and The Undertaker with Obafemi and Pierce, and I love it to death. It is so good. And what they do with that match with Grayson, it's a great match. I think it's, even though it's only a minute, it's great. But we'll get into that later on in the show of what it sets up, which I'm hyped for. But after that, you have Joe Hendry thanking the Street Profits, and this is why, God damn it, the first segment of the show did what it had to do because it made this so much better. So Joe Hendry's like, oh, thank you guys. You know, I appreciate it. And the Street Profits like, yeah, you're welcome. Get a different shirt because he's wearing blue. Which, could we get Raw versus SmackDown again? I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know if I could picture Joe Hendry in a red shirt, though. I don't know if I could picture him in a silk red shirt. But after that, Seth comes up and he goes, boys. And then Montez goes, here he goes again, making it about himself. This wasn't about you, and just walks away. Why that's important. Braun Breaker said he has no friends. The dudes who fucking saved you don't even give a fuck about you. They didn't even come out for you. Fuck. They just wanted Logan Paul in theory. And it's a great story. It's this idea that, listen, man, think about 2-3 years ago, Rollins was the guy, the locker room leader. He was the guy on Raw that's like, hey, we back this dude. And then now it's like, you're fucking nobody. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Then we have, and I'll let you talk about it before I gush about match of the fucking night. I fucking love this match because I'm a huge Lucha Libre nerd. You have Rey Mysterio versus Los Americanos' El Grande Americano. Flecha, it is yours.
Yeah, this one was definitely one of the best matches of the evening. And it did its purpose. It was over 10 minutes of action. It was a great story that they talked, and you can tell that this was more of a Lucha Libre match. They were definitely tapping into the AAA level. They were tapping into that, that they told a different story that's very different for the American audience. So for all of the American fans, now you got to see what Lucha Libre is all about. You saw the high flying, you saw, the arm drag, you saw the dragon screws, you saw little things in this matchup that was woven. That's a great story that you don't necessarily get to see on regular TV. You're not going to see that on NXT. You're not going to see that on a regular Monday Night Raw. You're not going to see that on SmackDown. You may get this in AEW, depending on who's wrestling. But this was excellent, to say the very least. I was very impressed with this matchup, and this was far and away one of the better fights of the night. Easily 3.25, 3.5 for me.
So for me, this was a 4-star bout because of what this was. And there is a segment that, God damn it, I need people to talk about more. Because, dude, it is Lucha Libre to a fucking T. There's a spot where he pins him on the mat. 1, gets the arm up. 1, 2, gets the other arm up. 1, 2, gets his abdomen up. And then he rolls out of it. That is Lucha Libre to a fucking T at its best. It is so good. And this is why Grande, or Ludwig, can't lose. Because my fucking God, this is what he does. Chad Gable doesn't do that. Ray wins, obviously. But there's a key piece at the end there. And they did it on purpose. And I love it that they did it because it shows that these guys care about the story. Ray could have just forgot about it. He could have left it on the mat. When El Grande goes to put the thing in his mask, the steel plate, the original comes up and, pulls it away and it gets knocked onto the mat. 619, 1, 2, 3, drops the dime. Rey Mysterio wins. Ray picks up the steel plate, looks at it, and goes, "No more," and then puts it in his pants and leaves, which means symbolizing May 30th, no steel plate. This thing ends lucha libre. This thing ends the way it should. These two put on a 4-star bout. It ends how it should have, and it showcases how good these two are in the ring. And I want more of this, and that's why I watch Triple A, because it's all of this. I mean, you got Psycho Clown, you got Pagano, you got all this stuff that's going on. It was great. But then we have the announcements for Backlash, Asuka, Io, Braun Breaker, Seth. So far, those are the only two confirmed, I believe.
Yeah,
Right
only two
now.
confirmed at the moment. Yes.
And then
Yes.
we go to a short match, but a great match, in my opinion. Obafemi Grayson Waller. And good God, this man is so fucking over. I mean, I didn't think someone could be more over than LA Knight was like a year or two ago. I have never in my life seen a man this fucking over ever. You look out in the crowd, everyone's fucking doing this. Everyone's chanting. Fuck, they were chanting, Oba's gonna kill you. And I was like, this is fantastic. Match was, you said, like a minute, right? For me, it's 3. It was a 3-star because the finish was incredible. The finish was incredible. So you had the match starting off, and I'll go through the match because it was a short match. He blocks a kick. Grayson gets clothesline. Oba then sends Waller into the turnbuckles, punches him, then hits an Irish whip and several uppercuts. And then Waller goes to the apron. Oba grabs him, and Waller then pulls him down. Goes for a slingshot, his finisher, I think it is, where he rolls in the ring and then the stunner. Oba catches him and throws him.
Yep.
He just fucking throws him. Picks him up, and I thought he did a fucking last ride because of how much he lifted him up. Fall from grace, 1, 2, 3, not even a question. And then I'll get into the segment. I mean, did you think the match was as good as I thought? I mean, it showcases obviously Grayson Waller's ability, but it also showcases that Oba's just gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, in our terms, like with me and the guys, we kind of like to call this a delicious squash. This was exactly what it needed it to be. It showcases Oba as that monster guy that he is, the face of the company. And on top of it, Grayson Waller was the perfect foil for this. This is one of those F around and you find out. You F around earlier in the night, finds out in the match. This is why Oba is Oba. So it's kind of, there wasn't really anything that would make us say, wow. It's just, we saw what we saw. Then domination. That's exactly what it needed to be. Yeah, simple enough.
But then we have what's even the part of the night that I was like, yes, fuck, give me more of this. We give Oba a microphone. And again, Oba can talk. I don't think it's any secret anymore. Oba can talk. Oba goes, is everyone feeling good? Crowd, yeah. Oba says he's feeling good. And then he said Grayson Waller is not feeling good, but we do not care how Grayson Waller feels. And I fucking laughed so fucking hard. And then he goes, because it seems like every champion is tied up, every champion is busy, I'm going to start something. And I went, huh? What do you mean? What do you mean you're going to start something? Next week will be the Obafemi Open Challenge. And I started slamming my fist against my table, and I was like, yes. Oh my God, they're treating him like Brock Lesnar, and I fucking love it. Because he's going to go on to win King of the Ring, win the world title by the end of 2026. That's exactly what they're going to do. But man, dude, Oba doing the Open Challenge and saying, you are not stepping in with any man, you are stepping in with the ruler. He will be merciless and unforgiving. If you want to see how you do at the top of the mountain, prove it. And it feels like Oba's a world champion, even though he's not a fucking world champion. And it's so good because he got over organically. They grew him in NXT. Yeah. And now it's an open challenge, and I'll let you have it.
They're grooming him to be the next world champion. The question that I got a major concern is, who are they gonna send? Like, the guys that that's but not right away.
No, obviously
Yeah,
not.
because obviously not. But you got to start to think who
Finn,
are going to be the ones that are going to go after him,
Finn
and
Balor.
that's going to be the.
You
But
take some
I don't.
guys that are mid carders, upper mid carders, and I think you just throw them at
Yeah.
Oba. But over time, you build. I think how they do it is they build that. Oh, he's dominating, right? But then you keep
Hmm.
building like they're chipping away, and then you have someone like Gunther come in, and then you have that, or you just have him run through the entire roster because that's what they did with Brock. So it just depends.
I mean, yeah, it that's going to be very interesting. I think it's the level of competition, who they're going to throw at him. I think that's going to be the biggest tell because if that goes over,
He's
then
going to
yeah,
be king of
we're
the
going to be
ring.
good.
He's going to be king of the ring.
Yeah.
It's just this is going to happen.
So
Um,
yeah.
then I'll let you talk about the backstage segment between Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez, and then Finn Balor.
This was very interesting because you can tell that I feel like Roxy's playing both sides. She's playing that she is loyal to Liv, that she's trying to be because they did bring it up. Look, you know, you actually were here when I was away because that was the time when she went to Japan to do the movie and Roxanne got infiltrated into the Judgment Day because of it, and then now Liv was dealing with no Roxanne was dealing with her little back issue, and now she saw that you know Balor got beaten up, got excommunicada from the Judgment Day, and you can sense that they're like, as long as you're on the same page, we're good. If you're not, you're gonna be like Finn. And then Finn's trying to say, hey, you saw what happened, don't try. And the thing is, Roxanne's kind of playing both sides. She's like, look, you're not supposed to be here. Get out of here, or else we're gonna have a problem. I like the psychology because it looks like Roxanne Perez owns all the cards. She's playing both sides of the fence, so she can jump from one side to the other on any given week. So it's you can tell that Roxanne's kind of her own woman right now because she's kind of like, all right, Liv, whatever you say, fine, I got you. But you could tell she's not 1,000% committed to the Judgment Day. She's not because of what happened with Finn. But she's not committed to Finn either, not 1,000%. So you kind of you're trying to figure out. You're like, all right, sweetheart, what's your play? Where are you come? Like, what's your play here? What are you thinking? So I think that's the biggest tell more than anything else is that she's playing both sides of the fence, but she's keeping the cards close to her vest more than a. I think that's the best way to describe it.
One thing Roxanne has always done, and I since NXT I've noticed it. Roxanne Perez is one of the only women that uses this a lot. A lot. If you look at Roxy when she cuts her promos, if you look at Roxy when she speaks, watch her face. Watch the way her cheeks move, her lips move, the way she's acting. Because it tells you the whole story. Liv goes, "Hey, I want to finish up our conversation that we had before WrestleMania," and you know, she's like, "Oh yeah, of course, for sure." Um, but it's very coy. It's very okay. Where are we going with this? And even when she walks away, she's like, "Yeah, no, I understand." She's like, "I get it." But there's always in the back of Roxanne's head, that title's going to be mine. That title is going to be mine. And when she walked away, that smile went down immediately. Because Roxy
Mm-hmm.
even says, "Hey, I need a minute." And I was like, huh. Because she didn't know Finn was going to be there. And you got to think about that kind of stuff when it comes to this slow, what I think a slow burning feud. It's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Roxy is the future of the women. I mean, she just is trained by Booker T. We knew that going in. Now, my fear is they're going to treat her like Finn Balor, and they're going to give her the world title once and then never again. But I really enjoy how Roxy cuts her promos because of her facial features and the way
Mm-hmm.
she says things. And Roxy can't trust Liv. She knows that. Like you said, she's playing both sides. But I think Finn's going to take the bullet for her. When the turn happens eventually on Roxy, Finn's going to take the bullet. I think that's what they're setting up for. And then you have Roxy under the wing of Finn Balor, which would be great. I think she could learn a lot from Finn. But I think Roxy's going to be a world champion within the next 2 years, so it doesn't fucking matter. And then you have the match that follows, and it's just a typical tag team match. For me, it's 3.5. Good match. There was a spot. There's a lot of history in this match. If you really think about it, Roxy, Lyra, Bayley, Roxy, Bayley, Raquel. There's a lot of history, and it was showcased in this match. But they did the hot tag wrong, and it bothers me. Like, as someone who loves in-ring work, and fuck, one of my favorite matches of all time is Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door 2023. That match was fucking incredible. Roxy's the one that was over. And I don't care that Roxy and Raquel won. I mean, that was probably... I just don't know what the fuck they're doing with Bayley and Lyra at this point. It's just... I'm going to assume whenever they're out there, they're going to be the ones that lose now because they don't ever win. And you can't do the story where Lyra turns on Bayley because been there, done that, doesn't fucking work. But there was a hot tag where it felt like, oh, like we're supposed to be cheering for Lyra, and they booed the shit out of her. And I was like, when you start it and that happens, as a performer, how do you not go, oh, let's audible? They want Roxy, let's give them Roxy. And then they did later in the match. She had her hot tag moment. But it just makes me feel odd because it's like, man, you know she's from Laredo. Why would you give that moment to Lyra? And I'll let you... I mean, it was a fine match, 3.5. But what do you think about... I mean, do you have the same feeling about the hot tag spot that I do? Because it bothers the shit out of me.
No, because I think what happened there was that the crowd hijacked the moment. You can't fault that because, like you said, this was Laredo, Texas. This is the home of Roxanne Perez. That's her girl. And I feel like they were trying to play the narrative of the traditional babyface heel, but then part of that fight, you started to notice it started to go differently because of the fans. The fans stole this match. They hijacked this fight. This is typical Montreal, Quebec, Canada, my
Oh,
friend.
yeah.
Have you seen
100%.
how
Yeah.
many times that's happened? So that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately for Lyra and for Bayley, you were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It didn't matter who was out there. You had Roxanne Perez. You had the hometown girl. You knew this was going to happen. It just did it. Any other city, it would have been a different story. Because Lyra and Raquel would have gotten the heel heat. Lyra and Bayley would have been over like Rover. But the thing is, you're in a city that is geared for Roxanne Perez. That's like if you were gonna go to Raquel Rodriguez's city, and the fans would be rooting for her. It doesn't matter. Unfortunately, you were dealt with those cards. You had to play what you had to play with. Yeah, the match is about 3.5 stars, and it was over another 10-minute fight. But again, it was because of where they were. And that was kind of the problem in this. It's not that there was nothing that the women did wrong. It's just that you're in the wrong city, at the wrong place, and the booking, the way that it was supposed to be booked, it didn't work because you were with a different crowd. You put this in Providence, Rhode Island. You put this in Cincinnati, Ohio. You put this in Los Angeles, California. You get the reaction that you're going to
Hit
get.
face and
You get
heel.
the
Yeah.
you get the correct reaction. But you went to Laredo with the Golden Girl, Roxanne Perez. That crowd turned into Montreal. Sometimes that happens in wrestling. Whenever you get a wrestler that is very big in that particular city that you know is like their native son or native daughter, you have to expect all bets are off. Unfortunately, that actually hurt the match more than anything else. It actually hurt the match for me.
Why are they
Because
bailing? Why are they burying Lyra and Bailey?
I think because of the fact that they're the veterans now and they're trying to push the narrative for other things. But the thing was, the story was made for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Lyra and A Roxanne and Raquel had to get the win because they want to show the unity of Judgment Day, everything else. So fine, that it is what it is. Two, did Lyra or Bailey really need the win in this match?
No,
No,
but it sets up what is it? It sets up their tag team championship shot, right? If they would have won, if I remember correctly.
But there's too many teams right now that's going after it. Remember,
Yeah.
you still because I think right now the next team that's getting the WWE Tag Team title shot for the women is actually Fatal Influence. I think Lanny Reed and Fallon Henley, after what they just did on SmackDown on Friday, they're probably going to be the next ones to get the shot at the belts. That's just me personally, just my thoughts alone. I kind of feel like they're just trying to up the scale, up the ladder more than anything else. But the thing is, you can always run that back. You can always get the different result. Because remember, I think not too long ago, Bailey and Lyra actually won recently, not too long ago. I think it was a few weeks ago.
It might have.
So I mean, they're not gonna get hurt. It's just one loss. It's just you went into the wrong city. That's what I feel like is kind of you went into a hostile crowd. That's how that plays out. So
then you had the final segment of the evening, Flecha, and after Sol Ruca was announced she's signing on Raw, which great signing for Raw.
No big surprise.
Yeah. Roman cuts a good promo. I have a few issues with it because I think it's Roman. Roman comes out and he says the man makes the title. True, 100%. He says he put the title in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania. 100%. That title was only in Night 1 for the longest time. The title meant nothing for the longest time. Then he said he made it relevant. No, you did not. The man that made that title relevant is Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins, when he won that title the first time, trailblazer. Fucking built it up, made it what it was. And Gunther, even the fact. Gunther made it relevant. It felt like a world champion. And then he said you can acknowledge the title. I get Roman's over. I understand that. But the problem with this is you just buried everyone else. Like, Punk was a good champion. Takes two to tango. Without Punk, that main event isn't as good as it is. Seth Rollins was a great World Heavyweight Champion, and Gunther was as well. Jey Uso was Jey Uso. But then Jacob Fatu hits the ring, cuts him off, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. We're about to fucking, what's the answer? He says, oh, I hope you made the right choice. And Fatu says, I didn't need a day, didn't need a week, didn't even need an hour. I knew at that moment when I said I needed that title, I need that title. And then he talks about his outside the ring stuff, 12 years of hard work. And he said when Roman was running the bloodline, he said the OTC didn't call him, but Solo brought him in. Solo was the one that called him, which I found a little interesting because of the thing. But he said Solo gave him that chance, and he ran with it. And Roman says Fatu to slow down and calls him stupid. And I went, why? Why is he stupid? He's just telling you what happened. And Roman says, I'm the one that signed off on you to come to WWE. No, the fuck you didn't. No, you weren't even around. And then he says Fatu doesn't deserve the world title. If there is anyone in this company besides LA Knight that deserves a world championship and has dealt with more bullshit in the company, it's Jacob Fatu. Because we knew from day one Jacob Fatu is a world champion. He is over. He's that fucking good.
There was a few people that thought that.
And then we saw something I haven't seen in fucking years, and it made me pop. I was like, oh fuck, the Tongan death grip. I haven't seen that shit in years. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God. And then Roman said, I'll see you at Backlash. And then Fatu says, fuck that. I'll see you next Monday. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. We're picking up some fucking steam. This is what I mean by we're starting to get forward. But the Tongan death grip. What an interesting choice. Very Haku. I think you said last night. Good promo, great segment. Bit of stuff where I'm like, calling Jacob dumb is stupid. That's a very weak thing to say. You could have been, and if, I mean, I'm not me writing, but Roman could have been like, you don't understand. The only reason you're here is because I allowed you to be here. And just cut the whole dumb line out entirely. Because it just doesn't seem right. Because Jacob doesn't, everything he doesn't fit that. It doesn't fit the narrative. And also, you're just taking the same thing that Seth said earlier in the show and you used it again, which is annoying. It's a great segment, ended with the Tongan death grip. I think Fatu's going to lose at Backlash, obviously. Roman's it's gonna be a great match. But what'd you think about the final segment of Monday Night Raw from the 27th of April?
Fine episode, or fine segment, like you said. Other than that one little line that Roman said, I thought everything was good. Jacob looks everything that we thought he was. A dominating, badass looking contender that I know a lot of people have their doubts about because of, everything else, the past, what he did in his career. But the thing is that if you know Jacob Fatu, he was the longest reigning MLW heavyweight champion of the world.
How far is Cross off from that, by the way?
Oh, he's got a long way to go.
He's got I don't know how long how long was the title reign? I'm not familiar with it.
Like almost 3 to 4 years.
Oh my God! All right, continue.
He's got a long way before he even gets. The MLW champion. Yeah, I don't think nobody is coming close to Jacob Fatu's record.
Right,
no,
fair.
Yeah. So it was amazing. It was fine. Yeah, it was exactly where it needs to be. I liked it. It was a great way to close it. It's yours, man.
So, I mean, as we wrap up Monday Night Raw, there were some highs, there were some lows. I feel like this was a step in the right direction creatively, especially in the ring work. Last week, it didn't feel like great ring. This week felt like, oh, okay, we're back in the swing of things, and it kind of feels like Lucha Libre is kind of going to be their bread and butter, which I'm fine with. I think it's going to be great. If I had to rate the show, I'd probably give it a 7, because I gave the Raw after Mania, I think, a 6.5 because of some shit, but it was a solid show. Don't get me wrong. It was weird not seeing Punk. And I know Punk's probably going to take time off to, recover and whatever, but man, it's a different show without him on it. Just the possibility, because I didn't think Punk was going to be on tonight, but just the thing of, man, that idea if he can come in, cut a pipe bomb or two, and I hope he goes to SmackDown. And my closing thoughts on this episode before I pass it to you is my buddy Krios gave me very interesting theory, and I kind of believe it now. Punk's going to win Money in the Bank.
I think
he's going to break the record. He's going to become a 3-time Money in the Bank winner, because how else is Punk going to get back? And solid point. I think we'll see what happens with that. I do hope he goes to SmackDown because I think SmackDown needs it because the call ups for SmackDown were on the men's side were. Eh. I mean, what? Who else other than Trick? Who else has been called up from the men's side?
Um, Ricky Saints is supposed to debut this
That's
week.
right. See, that's a big pickup,
Um,
though.
yeah, Ricky Saints is supposed to be debuting this week. Blake Monroe is on her
Oh, the women's
way.
roster
You
is
had
and the women's
no,
roster
no,
is
the
insane. Yeah,
yeah, like we were saying that the women's roster needed a shot in the arm, and they gave it a shot in the arm.
and then some.
You fatal influence all three members, and now you get Blake Monroe. SmackDown is set. But SmackDown is good now. They're golden. And then for the men's, yeah, you had Trick. You got Ricky Saints coming, and supposedly there are more coming. But the rumor going on
Yeah,
is that there are more guys coming, but I don't know just yet who. No, this was a fine show. 7.5, 8 out of 10 would be my rating. Another good Monday Night Raw, and yeah, I think we covered practically everything, man.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you being on the first official episode. It's I have
Yeah.
surgery tomorrow, so that's why
Good luck with that.
it's not going to
Yeah.
be a great. Dude, I'm going to be higher than a kite after the fact because they're giving me painkillers and stuff. But
Yeah.
uh, I was thinking to myself, how can I? Because we talk about wrestling a lot, and I listen to your show and stuff, and I'm like, there are some things that you're saying that you aren't saying, and I'm like, man, I don't know if anyone's talking about this. And for the most part, everything I've said has happened, which is really funny to me. I run a little e-fed called WLW with a bunch of buddies, and I mean, if you've been around the channel, you know this. What happens in WLW seems to mirror what happens in WWE, but we do it first, and it's very funny. Like there's been a lot of times where that's happened, and I literally go, "Wait a minute, we just did this." So I don't know, man. If you're stealing from my shit, then give me royalties or hire me. I would rather have that. But like I said, this has been the first ever official episode of the Dumpster. We're going to do Monday Night Raw, probably recaps mostly, and then if AEW gets better than AEW, I mean, I like what they're doing with Osprey and Moxley right now, but we'll see. But we hope you've all enjoyed, and I will see you all on the next one.